The Palm Beach Civic Association expands its communication outreach with a state-of-the-art television studio. We call it Studio 33480, the zip code for the beautiful island of Palm Beach. Sponsored by Finley Galleries, our goal is to bring you in-depth interviews with the most colorful and knowledgeable personalities on the island. And now, our host.
Welcome to Studio 33480. I'm Claudia Shea. Today we're discussing a climate change assessment survey that all residents of Palm Beach County are invited to submit by the end of October. This survey is optional and you can skip questions requesting information that you're just not comfortable sharing. You may recall that the town of Palm Beach also circulated a survey last year that did include environmental impact questions. The results of that survey were presented to the Strategic Planning Board last October. The top environmental concern then among Palm Beach residents was extreme weather, particularly hurricanes. This new county survey is another opportunity for you to share your concerns. This data will assist Palm Beach County in identifying hazards and determining mitigation strategies in the face of a changing climate. Our guest today is Megan Houston, who works for the county as the Resilience Officer.
Correct. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Give us a little bit of background. What do you actually do for the county, and what is the task of a resilience officer?
I help lead the climate change efforts, climate adaptation and mitigation strategies, and sustainability development strategies for the county. That role is comprised within an office of resilience. We have 3 people, full-time staff, and then a lot of what we do is coordinating with our departments, our partners, our municipal colleagues to really address big solutions and big challenges that are related to climate change.
What would you say your mission is, your overall mission?
Our overall mission is to ensure a sustainable and thriving Palm Beach County. We want to preserve what we all love about living here and working here while dealing with extreme heat, stronger storms, things like that. And the way that we do that is by collaborating and making proactive investments, whether it's capital planning or community planning efforts, to make sure that as we're building, we're incorporating future weather conditions and addressing the problems that we have right now.
And you're not working in a silo. You're soliciting feedback from the community. You would like residents to just fill out your survey. Tell us about the survey and why it's really important for everyone to take a few minutes, fill it in, and send it back to you.
Thank you for bringing that up. We are working on a climate change vulnerability assessment and resilience action plan. That's a lot of words, but it's basically a risk assessment looking at Palm Beach County specifically. We know that there's hotter days, we know that the stronger storms are coming, but how does that impact our assets, the things that we value about our county? That could be traditional infrastructure assets like a lift station, or neighborhood assets like a church or a boys and girls club or a school, things like that. We have experts on our planning team to help us with the technical side, right? Like the geospatial data and the flooding modeling and things like that. But to get that neighborhood on the ground perspective, to value people who've lived here for decades, their whole lives, and hear from them about how climate change is impacting them. Is it impacting how they get to school? How do they get to work? Those kinds of experiences are important for us to know so that when we are planning and making our capital improvement plans and making our strategies, we're incorporating that real life perspective and able to prioritize efforts based on that input as well.
So you mentioned a couple of the types of questions that you have on there, but you've got many questions on there that really delve into the issue to give you a comprehensive understanding of what folks are going through. Talk to us a little bit about some other questions and what you're trying to get at with those questions.
On the survey, we do ask more than the typical 3 or 4 question survey. We want to know about climate impacts that have personally affected you. Are you outside between 10 and 2 and it's no longer comfortable to do your shopping during that time or go to a sports game or something like that? Are you able to wait and take the bus, or is it too hot? We're asking about flooding conditions, as well as how do you like to get your information and what role do you want the county to take a part in with resiliency strategies. So on information, is the internet or social media or a hard copy newsletter, if you remember those, is that your preferred method for being informed, staying engaged with us? We really want to hear about that perspective. So as we're continuing to communicate and plan and coordinate with our communities, we're delivering that information and receiving that information in the way that makes best sense for our community.
So many components of climate change. What are you looking at specifically?
I mentioned storms and hurricanes, stronger hurricanes. Everyone talks about sea level rise, and that is occurring, and we're looking at how that exacerbates existing challenges. So sunny day flooding, coastal flooding, things like that, stronger storm surge during our hurricanes. So sea level rise can increase all of those intensities. We're looking at how that actually plays a part in saltwater intrusion, right? Like contaminating our drinking wells and things like that. Extreme heat. We know that we live in Florida and it's sunny and it's hot, but it is getting more acutely problematic. And for our elderly communities, our young people, our pregnant women, it's important to understand how extreme heat is affecting us from a public health perspective and how we can increase tree canopy coverage and shade structures to make it more comfortable and safe. It's not just about comfort and convenience, it's about health and safety as well.
The heat is something everybody's talking about. You know, you can't walk down the street without hearing people say, yes, it's hot in Florida in the summer, but I don't remember a summer like this. It's above
it
90
can be brutal,
every day,
right?
every day.
Yeah.
You touched on canopy cover. Let's talk about that as one of your mitigation strategies.
Included in the assessment that we're doing, we're looking at our tree canopy coverage, we're looking at our county-owned properties and calculating how many trees we have and calculating that inventory of our county coverage. Tree canopy coverage is important. In some neighborhoods, it's as low as 5% in Palm Beach County. In some other areas, it's 35%, which is more of a best practice. So if we can increase that tree canopy coverage and put trees that offer that shade and that transpiration, then that helps cool the overall neighborhood, cool the community area, and make it more safe and pleasant to be outside even during a hot day. And we all know this fundamentally, right? Like if we're out in our yard, we want to stand under the oak tree. We don't want to be waiting out there exposed in the sun.
How about flood and shoreline protection?
Flooding is an issue. Again, we live in Florida. We know that we have to deal with flood challenges, and we have a stormwater system that depends on gravity-fed canals. But from a coordinated effort, we can do better engaging with our municipalities to look at flood protection holistically. And so that's something we've collaborated with some of our municipalities on to apply for funding that can help us look for shoreline protection strategies that are harmonized, that are unified, because we all know water will go to the easiest way out. And so if we're not unified in our approaches, then it can be problematic still for certain neighborhoods.
Makes sense. Okay, you touched on this briefly. Let's talk about it a little bit more, though, about sustainability and tips you would give people.
Yeah, everyone has a part to play in sustainability efforts, and it's always dependent on your ability and your capacity. But if you're looking for ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, things like doing an energy audit of your home and looking at how efficient your appliances are, that's a really good place to start. Shutting off lights and switches when we leave, things like that. Even watering during appropriate times for your landscaping, right? In the early morning before the sun is baking out and evaporating most of that water. Things like that can help make a difference if we all do our part.
So this isn't a one and done. This is an ongoing effort. Tell us about the timeline, when you started this and where it's going next, what happens to these surveys, and when will that all be assessed?
This is an ongoing effort. We plan, we act, we reevaluate, we do more planning, we respond. So this is an ongoing effort. But for this specific resilience assessment and strategy, we hope to get initial results by summer of 2024 for the vulnerability assessment. That'll help us identify where we need to be prioritizing our efforts, and then we can develop our resilience action plan within the next year, so maybe 2025. From there, that's where we get our short, medium, long-term strategy that we'll begin to implement. We are also identifying, as part of that assessment, 30 priority projects that the county needs to pursue. We'll have funding estimates and strategies so that we know how to be prioritizing our capital planning, what kind of grants we need to pursue, and that'll help guide how we coordinate our efforts within our different departments, whether it's engineering or our parks departments. So between the vulnerability assessment, the resilience plan, and the priority project list, we're going to have a lot on our plate and a lot to seek out to improve the county.
And all of our residents who take part in that survey, may end up seeing whatever their issue is, or their input will be considered on the survey for when you're making the decision for that 30-item list. Do you have any of the individual items or priority items right now?
Not yet. It could be focused on county capital construction projects and our county operations, whether that's facilities or our lift stations. But some of the input that we're hearing from our communities are things like, we don't have access to a community pool, and during hotter summer days, how do we help our children find a safe activity that's still going outside? And so things like that community input is really important for us to hear so that we can figure out how to include that in strategic development.
Through your work, you've spoken with a lot of communities. You've had a lot of input already. Is there something that stands out to you as the public just doesn't realize this? What are you hearing that really is concerning or surprising?
It's the opposite. I'm actually very surprised and humbled by how much our community knows and the level of intelligence of these conversations. I am surprised that that people are so well informed and people understand it. People are also still needing help about what to do from it, and that it's a shared responsibility between the businesses, the government, and people. And so that's where we try to help direct efforts.
Megan, anything that I haven't asked you that you'd really like our viewers to know about this whole effort?
It sounds like it is just on a team of 3 people, the Office of Resilience, but resiliency is really a shared effort. Ensuring the county's sustainability is something we all do. We have champions throughout the county at the administration level, at the board level. Our departments are excellent, and so if people are concerned, right, I think that they should take comfort in that so many people share this responsibility and this work to really tackle these big issues.
Well, I know how busy you are, so I appreciate your time speaking with us today. And keep up the good work, and we look forward to hearing more as you progress through this whole process.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for tuning into Studio 33480. As a reminder, on our website, we do have that link for the survey, so it's easily available for you. We'll see you next time.
Studio 33480 is brought to you by the Palm Beach Civic Association, our sponsor, Finley Galleries, and our viewers. We welcome your thoughts on how our programming can best serve our members and residents.